Well, hello, hello, hello. Today we are talking about canning breasts, chicken breasts. Get your mind out of the gutter, oh my gosh. So I found, sorry, Navy humor, I was in for a long time. I found these breasts on clearance at our local Sam's Club, and I decided I'm going to can them up. And I have plenty of raw packed chicken. I'll probably do some more. But this time I'm going to roast these on a high heat, and then I'm going to pack them in hot jars with my broth that I had made the other day. Then we are going to go ahead and can that up. My children are trying my patience. They're trying my patience, but I love them. Anyway, roast high heat until it's almost done. Put it in a hot jar with hot broth and or water, depending on how much I have. And then you can it for your normal time. There's no reason not to do this. In fact, if you look in the ball canning book, you'll find a recipe for pork and spicy broth, where you go ahead and roast the pork and you put it in a broth with onions and seasonings and such. And I'm going to do something similar. I actually have done chicken that way before. You can raw pack too. I figure I'll probably do that in a different video. Maybe it'll be this one. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. So Jason over at Angry Prepper and Ray over at Riverbend Longbows, this one is for you. All right, guys, I'll show you what I'm up to in a minute. First things first, I'm going to put some olive oil on my steel baking sheet. I want enough so that my chicken isn't sticking and getting all gross. And then, yes, I can do this with bare hands. Yes, I have cut the heads off of plenty of chickens and ripped out their innards with bare hands. Do I love that? No. Am I a wimp for wearing gloves? Nope. I just don't feel like dealing with sticky chicken. So, there you go. All right, so I have these chicken breasts that are on sale. I have a sharp knife. I have seasonings of choice. I decided to go with granulated onion, granulated garlic, seasoned salt, and chili powder. I was thinking maybe like I could use this in white chicken chili or something. And then I am cubing up my breasts to about 1-inch chunks. Make sure you have a sharp knife. This one isn't as sharp as I would like, but it will do the trick. And then just plop it on the baking sheet. I'm going to keep doing that. I have my oven preheated to 450, and Magnus is singing for us. I'm going to do this in the oven at 450 degrees until it's browned on the outside. It'll take probably about 20 minutes or so. I'll season it up. I'm maintaining my clean hand, dirty hand. This is my dirty hand. This is my clean hand. When I am handling my seasonings, hello Magnus, I'll use my clean hand, hence not cross-contaminating anything. So clean hand, dirty hand. I'm just cutting off the fatty bits. The cats will go crazy over these. And I'm just going to keep cubing these up. This is a really nice way of doing chicken that's not, well, the texture's different. So like, I feel like raw packed chicken has like more of a tuna-y texture, like albacore tuna-y texture. And this holds more of a firmness, so it's still tender, but it's also firm. It holds its shape. So they're both great. They both work. I love doing raw packs when I'm in a hurry and I just need to get it in the jar and in the canner. Pardon me. And I like this one. I have just a touch more time. I totally forgot that I bought a couple more pork butts, so I will be doing some pork like this also. I'll probably just do more pork with spicy broth because you can use that for, I like to do carnitas tacos with it. So I'll probably do that again. Excuse me. So on this baking sheet, I will probably do about 4 or 5 breasts. I don't want to crowd them too much. I want them to get brown and not just like stew, because that's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for flavor. Browning also adds a layer of flavor that you're not going to get if you just raw pack the chicken in the jar. Ugh, flies. We're supposed to get a hard freeze here in a couple of days, so hopefully that'll be the end of these stinking flies. I'm very much a fall person. I love it when the insects die for the year. I realize they have their place, but I still feel like they're demon spawn. I don't love bugs. I just don't. Today I was driving and I had a wolf spider crawl on my hand. I thought it was a fly and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a spider. I'm a real ninny when it comes to spiders. Just don't like them. I just don't. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you love your spiders, but your daughter did not inherit that trait. Outside in the garden, hey, you go, spiders. No, when they come into my space, I freak out a little. I wonder if they feel the same way. They're probably like, why are you in my space, bro? Like, go get your own web somewhere. Who knows? I've never had a deep conversation with a spider, so I couldn't tell you. Anyway, I'm going to finish cutting these up and I will bring you back for seasoning and then these will go in the oven. So I'm going to stop the camera with my clean hand. Okay, so I am squishing this around with the olive oil. It's not enough oil to impact canning. Don't worry. It's just enough to help it facilitate it roasting nicely. Add a little bit more actually. And I'm going to, I don't have any exact measurements. It's kind of how you like it. If I were to say, I'd say it's probably like, probably a tablespoon and a half of onion, about the same of garlic. I don't know, onion and garlic are just definitely by eye. Then I'm going to use some chili powder. I'd say probably like 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to season salt just because it has paprika and stuff in it. I don't know, probably like a tablespoonish. Sure, we'll call it that. Excuse me, I apologize. It is harvest time here in Iowa, and there's lots of dust in the air because they're harvesting the soybeans right now, and even the excuse me, even the most seasoned Iowan will sometimes get some hit from it. So there you go. Hello, Magnus. So there you go. And then I am just gonna make sure everything is coated. Ooh, you could do like jerk chicken flavor. Once upon a time, I was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, and there's a place there called the Jerk House, and they make the best Jamaican jerk chicken you ever had. I love jerk seasoning. All right, so see how I'm trying to give them like a little bit of space, and if you've cooked chicken breast, you know that they shrink up. Homegrown won't as much because you're not soaking it in a saline solution, and I don't want to think about that right now. I'm trying to enjoy my chicken. Store-bought is not my favorite. I do get it sometimes when it's on sale. Much prefer homegrown, but if you've ever parted out a chicken, it takes a long time to part out so many. So, all right, there you go. This is all seasoned up. I'm going to put it in for about 25 minutes at 450, and I'll bring it back. So I did have plenty of chicken, and I decided to go ahead and do some raw pack. I don't have any pints, and you're going to hear Astrid whining in the background because, once again, things aren't going her way, and she's miffed. I could use my meat funnel, but whatever. I'm going to have to clean this rim like crazy good with vinegar anyway. So it's just this simple. You cut up your chicken, you pack it in your jar. If you want to be neat and tidy, which is probably a good idea, but like I said, I will be cleaning this rim very, very well with vinegar before I put the lid on. I apologize. My children are just being kind of inconsiderate tonight. I'm not sure why we've decided it's time to shout. Probably just because they know that Mommy's filming and they enjoy doing that. So, you bring this to the 1-inch mark on your jar, 1 inch of headspace, and that is it. You are going to clean the rim very thoroughly. You are going to put your lids on this. Since I packed this cold in a cold jar, I'm going to put it into a canner full of cold water. Cold plus cold plus cold. If I used a hot jar and put this in, then I would put this into a hot canner. But I'm doing the whole process cold. I heat up my canner very slowly just to avoid any kind of thermal shock, and it works out just fine. You cook pints for 75 minutes. You cook quarts for 90 minutes. Same for raw pack, same for cooked, same for meat in general. Now, Ray, for you, just so you know, you could definitely can up that gorgeous fish that you get when you're bow fishing. You would have to look at the guidelines. I don't remember if the times are different or not, but I will tell you that that would be amazing with those beautiful firm fleshed fish that you get. This would be a really good way to store it if you don't already can it. So there you go. That's all there is. I'm going to get these cleaned up, like I said, very, very well. Very well. And then they're going to go in a cold canner, and then my hot chicken will go in a hot canner. I have 2 pressure canners, so it will work out well for me. And I will bring you back when we are jarring up and getting ready to put in. Just as a quick FYI, because I thought about this when I turned off the camera, you can totally raw pack chicken, and you can absolutely add some liquid to it if you'd like. The chicken will make its own liquid, so if you do that, I would suggest just leaving a little bit more space so you have more room for broth. That would be the only reason, because the chicken will shrink down and it makes its own broth. But if you want to add some broth, give yourself a little bit more room, like to here, just so you can actually enjoy that broth. It does not hurt a thing as long as you maintain that 1-inch head space to add some broth. It just doesn't. So, you know, it's your kitchen. You do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You do what you want. You're not hurting nobody. So just, you know, there's people out there who are just like very by the book canners, and I respect that. That's cool, but I am very comfortable doing. You do want to, you still want to debubble to a degree. I mean, you can't completely, but I do like to just try and make a little bit more meat fit. You're not going to be able to do it completely, and I actually have too much meat in some of these jars. My headspace is getting exceeded a little bit here. But yeah, I just like to do that. You know, I'm not like shoving it down and making it into a meatloaf or something, but just a comfortable, because you're going to be amazed at how much these shrink down once they come out of the canner. There's my peanut gallery in the background. Alright. This is bedtime, and every child in my house, without fail, except for the baby, fights bedtime. Something awful. Just, I don't know why. It just can't seem to stand the thought of going to bed and missing out on the action. Especially on the rare occasions that I find time to actually film stuff. Oh my gosh. Worst thing in the world to make them go to bed. See what I mean? There goes Aiden. Alright, so I have 6 pints of chicken here. I have eliminated some air pockets. No big deal, not the end of the world. I personally like to add salt to mine, so I'm going to do that. Turn off my oven because that chicken is done, and then the dustpan and sock and whatever else might be landed on the floor. I use about half a teaspoon per pint. You don't have to use any salt at all. You do what makes you happy. Our bodies need salt, despite what certain persons in medical field would tell you. Keep in mind, I was in that field. I've also done a lot of research into nutrition and such, and it's really interesting how much is vilified that should not necessarily be, but that was already in my rant, so you already know. Anyway, I'm going to get these cleaned up, lids, and we'll get them in the canner. There you go. And I'm going to get the roasted out in a minute. I think I'm going to cut up an onion or 2 to put in the broth, which is underneath the camera, because it's like up, you know, my stand is up. I will boil that and let the onions get a little bit tender, and then I will put it into the jars. My teenagers are off camera whispering about something. I don't know. It's a little bit sus. I don't know. See, look at this. Look at this. Does that face not look suspicious to you? See you in a while. Now for the hot packed chicken. I put my chicken mixture into the jar with hot broth, 1-inch headspace. I debubbled it. I'm cleaning the rim very, very, very well. Put my lid on, center it low, fingertip tight, into my worm canner, and I'll show you again. So I just noticed with my last jar, the onions kind of didn't fit in real well because I didn't put any in the bottom. So I'm going to put a few onions. And then I'm going to put my meat in here. It turned out really pretty. It tastes delicious. It ended up cooking all the way through, which is fine. The flavor is absolutely wonderful. Oh well, I'll get that one later. I have run out of quart jars upstairs. I do not feel like trotting to the basement right now. So I'll be doing the rest of these as pints. And this is going to be really, really delicious. A few more pieces here. And I'm actually going to use some of these pan drippings and put them right into my big pot broth, because that is nothing but flavor. Mr. Ben just tiptoed by. He informed me he does not care to be on camera. No promises, Ben. Your daddy's laughing at him. He's sneaking by again. Sneaky, sneaky. I try to respect their wishes, but sometimes there will be a wild teenager sighting. It's rare. You gotta look hard, because they like to hide. Ms. Astrid is really being a little pill tonight. She'll be 5 next month, and she's just very much convinced she's a boss of things, and she's decided she just does not want to go to sleep tonight. Yes, my husband's clearing his throat. And the reason he's clearing his throat is because young Ms. Astrid is a Scorpio like her mom. I told him it's a Scorpio thing. Y'all are going to laugh at me, I know. You're going to say that zodiac stuff, but I'm telling you, there's a little something to it. There's a little something to it. Anyway, I'm just cleaning off the rim and getting a little bit messy, and I'm still a little full here, so we're going to grab spoon. It is important to try to maintain proper headspace, especially when you're canning meats and such. So the reason for that is you don't want it to siphon out and get all gross and lose your liquid and such. Yeah, I don't know what tragedy has befallen Miss Astrid this time, but apparently it must be pretty dire if she needs big sisters. So anyway, lots and lots of vinegar. Lots and lots of cleaning. Make sure that you have an absolutely impeccably clean rim. Go over it with a clean finger. Make sure there's no grease, no chips, no any of that stuff, because that is not good when you are canning anything. You want to maintain cleanliness at all times. Even though my fingers are dirty, my jar rim is clean. And I'm not happy with this band. I had a lid fail the other day because I had a wonky band. This one's all dinged up and dented. It's time to retire. So there's always more close by. Put my finger on the lid, screw down my band, finger tight, and into the pool it goes. I'll do this with all of my jars, and then I will slowly start warming it up. I will vent it for 10 minutes. Once it comes up to that choo-choo train steam, And then I will put my weight on, 10 pounds PSI for my location. I have to get a clean towel. It will depend on what your elevation is, but here it's 10. And then it cook for 90 minutes. I have quarts and pints together. You always cook things at the temperature of the longest, or the time, I should say, of the longest cooking ingredient. A quart jar of meat goes for 90 minutes. A pint goes for 75. I'm not concerned about 15 extra minutes affecting the texture of the meat in the pint jars. So do that 90 minutes, cool it down, let off any pressure that remains. When it goes to 0, even when you take the weight off, you'll still hear psst. It's okay, nothing's gonna blow up. But I let it set for a good long time before I do that, because really even if the gauge says 0 and you're still getting that psst, there's still letting pressure off and you have danger of siphoning. So take your time with that step and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, if you've never pressure canned before, I'm using an All-American. It has a gauge and a weighted gauge, so dial and weighted. Safety check: for any time you're pressure canning, you want to look through this hole. Make sure that you can see daylight. I can, you can't, sorry. Yeah, there you go, now you can see it, see? Anyway, you just want to make sure everything's in place. The little safety plug is in place. I put a very thin layer of Vaseline around this. You can use olive oil, whatever you want to, because it does not have a gasket. It's just metal to metal, and you want to make sure you lubricate that. When I put this particular model on, you want this arrow to point to this groove. Oh, jeez, might help if I point to where I'm going, like so. Biggest thing is you want to make sure that the space all the way around here is even, and it is definitely not. So take your time, fiddle faddle with it. I'm going to put the camera down so that I can fiddle faddle a little better. And if you need to, feel free to turn off the heat. The first few times I did this, my sweet husband actually gave me a super nice, what is that, caliper gauge to use, just to make sure my widths were even. I use my fingernail now. And I just look. I may or may not be slightly OCD, so I think we all are. So I'm tapping down because I feel like it's not quite even. All right, good to go, good to go. We tighten opposite nuts on these canners, and you're trying to get uneven on me there, buddy. All right, fingertip tight. For you folks with super strong muscles, you might not want to do totally fingertip tight. Just make sure the lid isn't going to blow off. That's pretty much what you're looking for. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm going to turn the heat to about medium, and then I'm going to wait for that choo-choo train of steam to come out of the petcock. What that does is it pressurizes the whole thing and needs to go for 10 minutes to push all the air out. And then for my other canner, this is old school. This is from my father-in-law. It just has a safety plug, the safety mechanism here, and it simply has a gauge. Or not a gauge, geez. It has the weight. So this one is the same thing. You're going to vent it for 10 minutes once it's chugging like a choo-choo train. After that 10 minutes, you put your weight on, and then once it starts to jiggle, that's when you start your time. You want it to jiggle once, at least once, 1 to 4 times per minute. So I will show you what that sounds like here in a little bit. This one is warming up very slowly because this was my cold water, cold meat, cold canner. And then this one was hot water, hot meat, hot liquid, hot jars, etc., etc. So I got 2 canners going. It feels like a freaking oven in here right now, but we're getting this chicken done because I have a very bad habit of buying things and then not processing them in time. So here you go. All right, come back in a little bit. There it is. There's the choo-choo train. I don't know if you can see. Probably see, like if you look right. Well, I ain't gonna stick in my hand in that screen. But anyway, It'll vent for 10 minutes and then we'll start the timer. My canners are just about done. They're both jiggling away. It's a beautiful thing. See how it stops and then it'll pick up the jiggle. I've got the pressure where it should be and just about to be done. And then we'll turn the heat off and just let these come down off the pressure. It'll take a while. Here we go. I already took everything out of that canner. These have had a chance to rest a good long time. Ooh, look at that. This is the seasoned chicken that was roasted. Looks great. And these are the beautiful pints of the raw pack chicken. It turned out real pretty this time. All right. Looks like we had some siphoning. The water's a bit scuzzy, but nothing too alarming at all, really. So there you have it. There you have it. I showed you 2 simple ways to can your chicken. You find chicken breast on sale, go ahead and put it in some jars and get to work. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Until next time, see y'all later.